Pushing this halfway for me there, Jenna.
Yeah, I love this little pop of purple, you know, amongst all these pinks and yellows.
Yeah, that would again be stoloniferans, probably overgrowing a dead stalk with an ophiruoid.
Okay, going. Thanks.
Thank you.
Look to your right a bit for me.
And we had a question about the
Look
white
right a bit more.
spots that would be attachment points, right, from previous corals that were there. So just want, the
Look to
viewers
your
was
right a
just
bit more,
wanting
Jacob.
to confirm that those are those peduncles or like attachment points of the coral, and then asking kind of what happens to the coral after they fall off these rocks. I assume they degrade after some time. Do things eat
Yeah.
them?
They degrade if there's any predator around. They'll probably feed on the coral polyp tissue, but those little yellow spots that we keep seeing, they can be small encrusting sponges.
Ah, okay.
Not necessarily the words are evading me. The not the basal part of the
Ah,
coral
okay.
fans. There's a particular word for it. Uh, the basically the attachment points, not those. They can be encrusting sponges.
Gotcha. So they could be other stuff as well.
Yeah, yeah. Or sometimes bacterial mats can also show up in different colors.
Right. And do you think we're seeing them a little less clustered into lines now? As the community changes, it's also kind of more just patchy distribution instead of those
Yeah,
clear lines we saw before?
exactly. We're seeing more homogeneous communities right now with mostly chrysogorgias and with some hemicoralliums and definitely in lesser density than previously. Still, this is a highly dense environment, as we can see, in comparison to many other places that we see
Yep,
and
up 5.
encounter.
Right, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's the, yeah. There's some beautiful crinoids. We can see cup corals on the surface of the rock, several cup corals actually in this particular view, mostly in the genus Desmophylum, um, basket stars. Hemicoralliums. We can see some of the bases of dead corals here, where you can see part of the stalk sticking out.
Is the stalk generally much sturdier than the rest of the pieces, and that's why it kind of is remaining after other pieces break off?
Um, I would say like because it's heavier, more because of the structure. When it
Mm.
falls, it breaks at a certain point.
Quick zoom for me there,
So and
Jenna.
then the base stays
Ooh.
on because Yeah, there's something
Yeah, what
interesting
is
here.
that? Whoa, so spindly.
Is that like that dandelion thing you saw earlier?
No.
No.
No, that's not a...
Urchin?
No. No, that's not a sea spider.
Is it an urchin with really fine spines? It kind of
Yeah, can be.
looks like you can see those
Yeah, it can be a...
toothy.
Yeah. It can be a sea urchin with very
Like you
fine
can see
spines,
those little
yes.
white tube feet coming off and maybe
Okay,
like
go
the
away.
pedicelaria, like the little
Yeah.
claws as well.
Yes.
Thanks.
There's a really sharp angle rock there on the edge.
Oh, yes.
I mean, obviously attached to the rest of this little pinnacle. It's quite striking, all these different geological features.
Lots of cup corals on that rock.
Yeah, and we had a viewer comment appreciating kind of our rundown of the map earlier to give them a better idea of the topography around here. So Mia, right now we're at waypoint waypoint 2 and 3, right? And that's
Yes.
actually relatively flat if I'm looking at this cross section correctly. It was like steep, kind of flatter and then steep again.
So it's very deceiving. So if you just look at the profile view on the page where it's right above the waypoints, it looks very flat. But if you look at kind of
What's in there, Janet?
more the 3D striation view, you can see, I mean, it still looks a bit more flat, but when this data, I watched it as we mapped this area. I was working in the data lab, and it was very,
Push in a bit more.
I don't know how to describe it, but I said it earlier, on the western side of the seamount, it seemed very smooth as the data was coming in, and on this side, on the eastern side, it seemed almost like a collapse or something. So it's very varied, and I know, I'm sure Val has a much better explanation, as you know, and Hannah, the geologist on board. But yeah, so it looks on just the side view of our dive profile, this area looks very flat. But as we've been going up, you can see that we have all these different, I don't know if pinnacles are the right words, but these little
mound.
You know.
Yeah, these rock extensions.
Yeah.
Yeah, very layman terms, yeah. It looks like the elevation between waypoint 3 and waypoint 4 is steeper than 2 and 3, if I'm reading it correctly.
Yeah, so I think that's also a bit deceiving. So on the profile, you see waypoint 2 is about 2100 and ends about 2000, but we're already at 1732, so I know that's not accurate. And then there's a bit more steepness going in between waypoint 3 and 4. So this profile actually looks closer to the profile of 3 and 4 if you're looking at the side view.
Yes, I'm looking at the side view, looking at the cross-sectional slope profile. How much more distance till waypoint 3, Mia?
Give me a moment. We are 188 meters away. Horizontal meters.
Right. Taking time. Maybe we'll make it. End of this watch.
Sea cucumber, maybe?
Yeah, there's a sea cucumber. Probably the cynolactid. There was a metallogorgia with a crinoid and its characteristic ophiruoid, or pseudoanthomastus. That's
It's
probably a
10
braccia
meters,
that's hanging up.
290, please. Roger.
Yeah, it's clear there is a priority to get to the top and look for that potential trawl
Exactly.
damage.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the coral we sampled yesterday?
Oh, yes, yes. With its polyps closed.
So now back off a little bit here. It's overhanging cliff.
Have you ever been able to see a site that had human impacts before? Because I know we're trying to get to the summit of this seamount to see potential impacts from past trawling, right? Have you ever witnessed that?
Yes, I have seen a few areas both in the Pacific and the Atlantic where they had been trawling. You can see the marks. I didn't used to be very good at identifying those marks as trawling marks, and later I learned that they weren't. But you can see broken down fans, destructions.
Right.
There were signs of anthropogenic impact.
Right.
And there's scarring on the seafloor and the sediment from trawling. I've definitely seen a few such areas. I've become better at identifying those markings, but initially I would be baffled what's causing those.
I have a bit of a correction when we were talking about the profile. So I just remembered this is called new waypoint 3. I believe we skipped a bit of an area, so I think that's why when you look at the profile, it does look closer to between 4 and 5. But again, it's so hard to tell on these views. It's not accurate. You know, it's just a cross section.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. So we are not sticking to the original waypoint 3 as well. So the current waypoint 3 is different from
when we started yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called new waypoint 3.
Okay. And what is the approximate distance between each waypoint? Is there a standard, or it's something that is decided based on the place that is being explored?
Yeah, so I don't think it's a standard distance. If you look at the profile, you can see, you know, between what is waypoint 4 and 5 as we originally planned it. You can see it's it's twice as big.
Yeah, it's between 5 and 6, for example.
So, and then if you look at 6 to 7, but that is as we get closer to the top of the seamount, which will be shallower for us compared to what we've been doing.
Yeah.
And hopefully much flatter.
Yeah.
Do 20 meters west, please.
Yeah, that would be another one of those Bolosoma sponges, the stalked sponges, and the ferrade, they're stuck in, but we can continue moving.
Sorry, Elsa, did you want to, I didn't hear the last bit.
That was Upashana.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. That's like real quiet. Thank you.
And we had a viewer asking if we've seen any Dumbo octopuses. So was that octopus we saw earlier? That was not a Dumbo, right?
Dumbo octopuses are also serrate octopus, octopi, and the one we saw was also a serrate octopod.
Gotcha. So related.
They are, yes, but I don't think that was a Dumbo octopus, but it was a serrata for sure.
Right. Yeah, so that viewer asking, we saw earlier a really amazing highlight. It was some scavengers eating a deceased octopus, so definitely stay tuned when we look over this footage. We may be able to share some photos of that really amazing event.
Yeah, so Cirrhata is a suborder, so both the dumbo octopi and the one that we saw belong to that. But I'm not also sure how commonly the term dumbo octopus is used, so maybe all Cirrhatas are called dumbo octopods.
Right. At this point, I feel like any round octopus with cute fins
And
might be,
with the
yeah.
ear flaps, the
Yeah, the ear
extensions that
flaps.
makes them the Cirrhatas.
Anything with ears is a dumbo octopus to me.
So maybe that is probably the definitions according to that. Yeah, there's another one of those Voltaria euplectellids.
Wait a minute, I have ears.
Oh, Hans, the
Then I think we
dumbo
are,
octopus.
yeah.
So cute.
Your ears aren't nearly big enough, Hans.
That looks pretty prickly. Is that a glass sponge?
That is a glass sponge in the genus Voltaria, a euplectellid glass sponge. We have seen a few of those.
Looks like it's got a shrimp inhabitant
Yeah.
as well.
Turn on the light there.
Are those small crinoids on top?
Yes. Yes, those are small crinoids, and we see a beautiful chrysogorgia and an iridogorgia and hemicorallium in the background. But we can continue moving towards waypoint 3 since that
We're
is
good.
the priority at this point.
Yeah, we're still moving quite slow and cautiously here. There's still a red wall of death in front of us. So.
Roger.
The danger zone.
Atalanta has no brakes.
And there's another metallogorgia with, yeah, that's the hormatid flytrap anemone, and the metallogorgia with its Ophiuchreus oedipus, the ophiruoid, which is found always associated with the metallogorgia melanotrichus.
Wow, that flytrap anemone looks so huge.
Yes.
That was a good lesson from those wrecks. Atalanta has no brakes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, as long as there's a kind of a hard red line there at the, we don't know, you know, what's up above that. It could flatten out, or it could, you know, continue to go up for hundreds of meters.
Yeah, we see it.
So we kind of gotta, yeah, forward a little, up a little, forward a little, up a little. Which is easier than trying to traverse along it. That gets really challenging to traverse along it and try and keep Atalanta off it. Kind of like we were doing with the whole of the wrecks. Not always successfully, but there we could, just come up when we got in trouble. Okay, up 10, please. Yeah.
Another one of those flytrap enemies.
Oh, so it starts off more circular when it's smaller?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then it makes that folded
That
over shape.
folded, yeah. And sometimes, like, if they're open, you'll still see that it's basically more circular.
Oh,
I think they
okay.
can just extend and fold over. High density of chrysogorgids, with some hemicoralliums in between, ferrate, sponge, ophiruoids.
Left here, left a little for me.
Wow. For anyone just tuning into this dive, the landscape on this dive has been really striking. A lot of overhangs and kind of cliff faces and kind of like pinnacles with rocks protruding. So there has been a really maybe a more difficult dive for navigating around. So definitely amazing work by our ROV pilots and navigator as we make our way up this unnamed seamount.
Come up with me, Jacob. We're gonna come up kind of quicker than we have been here.
I feel like this scenery actually kind of reminds me of like big drop-off dive points in Palau with those sheer like cliff faces and it just drops.
Yeah, it does look a little bit similar, and I can't say if the geology is the reason why there's a lot of biodiversity here, but Palau is famous has several famous dive sites that are big drop-offs, so you can see a lot of really beautiful corals, and then also some big animals, so like sharks, turtles, fishes, schools of fish, a whole bunch of stuff.
It's interesting. These look kind of like loofahs or something.
Huh?
They're like a loofah, loofah, the shapes change.
Yeah.
What kind of loofah are you using?
I mean, I don't use a loofah, but...
What's a loofah? Is that disgusting thing my wife has hanging in the shower?
Yes.
I advise you not to touch it.
I don't touch it.
It's the closest analogy I could think of, or a very thick pipe cleaner.
Yeah, those are more like bottle brush. That's how it's, I think, one of the terms used. Yeah, we are seeing some beautiful paragorgid fans again. Paragorgia. I will stop calling them paragorgids because I think that family does not exist anymore. And everything has been, most of it has been put in Paramerciidae, the family.
And fun fact about what Mia just said, a lot of people think when they use those loofahs that they're marine sponges, but actually loofahs come from a plant, a vegetable. They're a tropical vegetable. I sometimes see loofahs just growing in Guam, so it's pretty amazing, yeah. And then you can kind of harvest them, and then they're like a biodegradable sponge.
Yeah, and also the natural ones, and in many places a variety of the same plant, not this aspect. This particular one is also commonly eaten. It's a
oh wow,
yeah, the same family, not the exact same one, but
yeah.
Yeah, those are the chrysogorgids. Sorry.
Well, I just didn't know that it's not an animal at all. It's a plant.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I learned something new too.
It's a plant.
Thank
But
you.
most people end up using the synthetic plastic
Good
ones.
thing I didn't touch it.
That's not good for the environment.
Oh, fish in the corner, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, this coral is so huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over 10 centimeters on the base.
Wow.
Wow.
Have you guys been seeing?
Zoom in a bit, please.
Oh yeah.
The base is really thick.
Yeah. And then that black spot, it's not
That's
a shadow.
good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sorry, where is the black spot?
It's just on the rock
On the
face.
rocks, yes, yeah, the darker.
15 centimeters at the base.
Wow.
Yes, that's
I
thick.
reckon, yeah. Okay, you can go wide,
That's
thanks.
thick. This thick probably, right? No. I think if that is almost 15 centimeters in diameter.
Oh yeah. Okay.
What is the bearing to the waypoint? Bring your head around to, yeah, let's see what the sonar looks like there. It's good there, Jacob, thanks.
Yeah, we've been making pretty good progress, I think.
I think a little while back I made the mistake of saying Paragorgia when I wanted to say plexaurids. So the fans that we were looking at were Paragorgia,
I think I'm
but
good
most
for
of the plexaurids have been
2280.
moved into Paramerciids, not the Paragorgids. Sleep-deprived brain switched names.
Is that a huge sponge in that rock?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So the difference now, Mia, is we don't have a solid red line. It's kind of broken up yellow, and we can see off 40 meters. So I'm a little more confident that we can make a move and come up as we go, so I can see out further than 20 meters. Or Atlanta can see out further than 20 meters. No, no, that's more of a benign hill there, as opposed to like before we had a red line right at 20 meters, and we have to do like 10-meter moves and come up, and we kind of hold the red line at 20 meters the whole time. Yeah, so that's the way we want to go, right? And it's broken up a little bit more, so we can move a little bit faster. know, you've seen one giant paragorgia, you've seen them all.
We've
But he was right on the top of that. We came up that really steep cliff. It was right at the very ridge where they like to hang out.
I stopped calling out all the sea stars, just, you know, I see them, so. Whoever reviews all this footage, they have so much stuff to document.
Yeah. Steve will probably watch it all at least 3 times.
Yeah, there's a nice ferrite sponge, some mushroom corals, squat lobsters. As we continue moving upslope.
We have to go all the way to 3 before we get a rock? Is that the...
That's the recommendation.
Right.
We're 150 meters away. The terrain does change if you look at the contour lines, but again, it's a bit of a lie. It's not.
Yeah, it has changed significantly now.
Yeah.
It's, you know, boulder field, for lack of a better term.
We're still a little light.
Yeah, we're super light.
You know, if we see an opportunity and we get close to 3, we might as well go for it.
Can we get a quick zoom on the yellow
Absolutely.
fan, because there was some confusion with the ID previously.
See if I can come around, not to...
Oh,
but
what is that?
That's a squat
lobster.
swimming. But this is not, I think this is different from the yellow fan that we were seeing previously, but we just want to check what
Hey,
this
Janet,
is.
push in there, please.
Yeah, that doesn't look like zoanthids overgrowing skeleton, so I would say probably Swifty. I would need Asako to help us with the ID, but we can continue moving.
Yep, sounds good.
Moving on.
Swifty, what?
So we mentioned a little bit about the person that has to review this footage.
What's that? Sure, yeah.
Science team, do you think you could help explain like what happens
the
after this dive? Do we like go back and count the corals or get more IDs, or what happens in this like post-processing of this video?
Come up 5 for me, please.
Our team is a little busy navigating and communicating with our onshore scientists, so just stay tuned. Oh, there's another purple one.
Sorry, what was the question, Kara?
Oh yeah, no worries. It was like what happens with this video afterwards? Does someone go and count the corals or try to do more ID work? Like what happens afterwards?
Yes, depends on how somebody wants to use them. If there are specialists.
All right, good, thanks.
That is a Victorgorgia. That is not stoloniferans overgrowing a dead stalk. That definitely looks like a Victorgorgia. And yeah, and Asako also thinks that that is probably a Victorgorgia. Then that would be the first, probably the first for this dive, at least on our in our shift. And we can continue moving.
Sounds good.
Oh, awesome. The first one of this dive.
Yeah.
At least during our watch.
All right.
First one I've seen.
So yeah, so it depends entirely on how one wants to use them. So if there's somebody who works on a particular group, they can come back to these videos and use them for ecological studies, to look at the distribution patterns. Oh, that is a huge sea star.
I know, really big.
Whoa.
I've been refraining from calling them all out, but that one is really big.
Wow. Do we know what kind that is?
Probably in the family Solasteridae. But that's how far I'm comfortable IDing it. Can be the genus Solaster as well.
4, 5, 6. It has a lot of legs.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At least 8. There's probably another one down there.
Zoom in there a bit if you want.
There's an eco right in front of me.
Good, thanks.
That is a Solasterid family. And we have a octopus in the
squid, I think.
Yeah, I think that's an an octopus.
In the
Atalanta view.
Yeah.
Because of the
in the upper upper left.
Yeah. That's a beautiful view.
Come
we
up
can
a few
continue.
meters. And go like this.
Oh. Yeah, for anyone tuning in, check out the other camera views.
That is a serrated octopod.
Wow. Wow.
You can look to the right. You can chase him a bit. Good.
I'm glad we got to see a live one.
Oh, the flappy ears.
The flappy ears.
Come up a bit more and look down for me.
Let me call it more.
Come on, Dan. We may or may not get a shot here.
Yeah.
Give it a go.
Okay. I was hoping it'd be attracted by the lights. Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
It's very white. Or maybe
it's because of the
changed.
light.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful serrated octopod. And given the completely blue background and the light reflecting on it, that's probably making it look a little whiter.
Oh. Wow.
Can you come down a bit for me? Push in just a little bit for me, Gina.
I've never seen one like this. I don't think I've seen one while watching any ROV dives either. Just moving like this.
It's swimming across.
Yeah.
That's great.
Do we have an idea how many meters above the bottom the octopod is?
40.
40? Okay.
20, sorry. I'm 20 up right now.
Okay. That is a wonderful view.
Can you come down for me? Down 5.
It's so graceful, like
I know.
the slow motion.
It reminds me of almost like a turtle when they're...
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
the turtles when they kind of flap their
Yeah.
fins.
Turn the lasers off, Jacob. Go in.
I think our wish to see a Syrian octopod
Yeah,
live
come
and
down,
healthy is
come down
finally
5.
Yay!
fulfilled.
I'm sure there's all sorts of interesting things on Upashana's deep sea bucket list.
I had seen these before.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure many of us in this room have.
Down 5.
Right.
This is probably in the genus. I will not go down to the genus. It's definitely in the family Opisthotuidae. Probably in the genus Grimpoteuthis, but I think I would go with the family.
The blackness, just, you know.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
the
so,
stark contrast.
Yeah. So beautiful.
Yes, it looks like a Grimpoteuthis species. It's just serene experience to see it swimming.
Yeah. I'm so glad we got to see this after
Yes.
seeing the one that was, you know,
Getting munched on.
getting munched on.
But that is also part of the
Yeah,
natural
definitely.
system, yes, but it always is happier to see a healthy living swimming one.
I think the current is pulling up here.
Yeah, right. Okay. Can slowly go away, Jaina, if you're not. We're going to let him swim out of the frame here.
Yeah, full blood.
Thank you.
Yeah, it won't let me turn.
Yeah, I was pulling you tail to tail there. Sorry.
Okay, all good.
Holiday up to the north somewhere. Octopus holiday.
Isn't that a Beatles song?
Octopus holiday?
I know something similar. I know, that's Octopus's Garden, yeah.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yes, that was beautiful.
Yeah, good eye, whoever spotted that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And away we go.
Okay. Come back down and acquire the seabed here.
All right. You're
Or
gonna
the wall.
let some stuff out?
Hold on, let me get back out to the... We
Sounds good.
went 40 meters chasing that. So
Yeah.
get back on the wall here before I
There you
come
go, I
down.
got you.
Well, less than an hour left in the afternoon watch.
And hopefully we'll make it to waypoint
Yeah.
3, because one of the main objectives is to get to the top of the seamount and
Right.
to understand the effects of trawling, because this was a seamount that was trawled at some point in
All
time.
right, I can come down now.
Yeah.
But thank you for manifesting, which I forget who said they were thinking about octopuses earlier.
Yeah, I think me and Taylor,
Yeah, you
and
can come
I mean,
down
at the
5,
back row,
sorry.
the whole back row, we
Yeah.
have been
Yeah.
talking about it for a few days. Even like last night, I was like, oh, I'm going to draw one on the board, because this is kind of our
Oh, you drew
wish
one?
board. No, I did not. I was sitting here and
Oh.
thinking, and then I forgot about it. Yes.
Right. Back to the regular scheduled show.
Gonna
Oh, there's so many colors in this one frame.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
orange, red, purple, pink, pink.
Okay, I think it's starting to steepen up there a little bit, but let's go for it. Let's go for 28280 again.
280.
Might live to regret
Bridge
that.
nav. Can we please step 20 at 280? Thank you.
So like we mentioned, one of the goals of this dive is to reach the summit of this unnamed seamount to see if there was any impacts from past trawling. Maybe Hans, do you think you could give like an overview of what trawling is, if that's something you're comfortable talking about from, you know, the history, maritime history? Like what trawling is?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, certainly the fishermen will know better than I, but,
Right.
you know, trawling is, you know, pulling a net, dragging a net. You can do a midwater trawls, but for when we're talking about impacts to the bottom, we're talking about bottom trawls, trawls that will contact the bottom, and there's all kinds of equipment that, you know, the large trawls have. First of all, there'll have to be a couple trawl doors that act as wings, that when you pull the net through the water, they pull each side of the net apart behind the vessel.
Right.
And so trawl doors are very heavy, very large. And then often on the bottom part of the net, the bottom edge of the opening of the net, there will be, you know, weights. There can
Right.
be rollers, you know, designed to be pulled over the sea floor to catching bottom fish. And so all of this has the potential to impact the ecosystem, and that's the kind of thing that we're interested in.
Right. Yeah, thanks for that overview, Hans.
So also to determine where it's appropriate to trawl and where it's not. So
Exactly.
Sanctuaries on the west coast have designated areas where the fishermen can fish without,
Right.
yeah. But where there's still fish that they can actually catch fish without wrecking the bottom.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we need to eat fish. But it's important to, you know, get those fish in ways that are sustainable and more sustainable, and understand the impacts to the ecosystem.
Absolutely. Sustainable practices and also limiting the catches. It's also about seasonality, which means that certain times of the year are not fit for certain groups of fishes to be caught because it's their breeding season, or they're migrating from one place to another. And also there has to be a certain level of restriction in the amount of fish or anything in the fisheries industry which is not limited to fishes, and how much of it is made available to the market. Because I always feel that if I go back to the example of my country, that we are a fairly large country and with very diverse habitats with coastlines, but if we move from one state to another, culturally the food changes a lot. And it's not just because people prefer different kinds of food, but everywhere local culture, local cuisine is based on what is available locally. and that is important.
Bring your head to
If what
280
is
for me,
available
please?
locally is
See how the
sustainable
sonar
and
looks
can
for a move.
sustain a certain size of population. As soon as you want to cater to the whole world, then it becomes overfished, overexploited. So we have to limit that to a large extent if we really want to protect certain habitats, certain taxa, and overall have sustainable practices in terms of fisheries or any kind of resource exploitation.
Come up 10 to come up, look down for him.
Yeah, and I think certain fish also, they take longer to mature,
Absolutely,
right? Or they don't
absolutely.
reproduce as many at a time.
Yes.
So it's really individualized also to each type of fish.
Exactly.
Yeah, fisheries is such an immense science on its own. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can we have the lasers back on, please?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Support your local fishermen. Know where it gets caught. How. That's why I love Hawaii.
Yeah, I took another free class online. I think it was during COVID. It was large marine
Push in there,
ecosystem
please.
management.
Turn it.
And it was, I forget who it was with, but partially NOAA was one of the sponsors for this course and it was free. But
Good,
yeah,
thanks.
I learned quite a lot. I'm definitely not like, don't have the biology background you guys have. I'm still in awe every time you just whip out all those names.
Go away, thanks.
oh, thanks for sharing that resource, Mia. I'm always impressed by the extra homework you do, going to the Library of Congress and taking all these extra courses. It's really amazing.
I love learning.
Yeah, I think that's one of the great things about being on the Nautilus is we're all learning together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have been passing over some bamboo coral colonies, the chrysogorgids, a few hemicorallium, and I think there was the one another Victorgorgia that we are crossing.
And just wanted to share quickly, Upashana, you got a shout out from our viewers saying they wanted to thank you for that
280.
great explanation, all your great explanations.
Thank you so much.
22, yeah, 20 towards the waypoint, whatever heading that is. All those rocks.
Any of them look enticing to you?
Yeah, all of them.
We're fairly close to waypoint 3, and we do want another sample, and our ROV is pretty light.
Yeah.
The question is whether these are loose or not, whether they're glued down.
I think they're loose.
While we look at rocks, there's another beautiful a couple of metallogorgias actually in view.
Yeah, we're looking at the rocks now.
Yeah. I just chimed in between.
There's
Like
some.
the way she says rocks.
Yeah, this is a nice spot. If you see some you think are loose.
Yeah, we just I just moved the ship. Mia just moved the ship, so I'll have to.
Okay, roger.
Just wanted to plant the seed back there.
Did Val want a rock from waypoint 3 or close to waypoint 3? She would be fine with close
You
to
know,
waypoint
it's
3.
close.
Okay.
The instruction is around waypoint 3.
Okay, then yeah.
I think she might not look at it and say, is this exactly from waypoint 3? Where did this come from?
No, because I don't know how they have placed or
Yeah.
if there's any particular significance to waypoint 3.
Yeah, it's about, we're about 100 meters from waypoint 3.
Okay.
But we're getting close. If you can see over my shoulder, or if you have this, I don't know if you have the screen back there.
Oh, okay.
You can see the contours widen quite a bit. So
I don't know if it's the waypoint or just the spacing, so she gets
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a
relative
priority
sample
to,
across the dive.
right. It is a priority for us to collect these samples, and we're well within the amount that we can.
Yeah, I think the last rock sample we took was about 5 hours ago.
Yeah, it's on the last watch.
Yeah.
Quick zoom on the purple guy there. Okay, thanks. Flybys and make them go wet.
And we had a question about kind of what qualifies an area as a coral reef and the definition of a reef. And I believe a reef is kind of an area of like solid, sturdy objects in the water that are resistant to wave action. So in shallow water, coral reefs play a really important role in absorbing energy from waves before they hit the shore. And there's other types of reefs as well, like oyster reefs. I believe shipwrecks can count as reefs, additionally, like artificial reefs. So definitely different kinds of reefs. And then for the deep sea, I'm actually not sure because a lot of these corals, I believe, are soft corals. So Upashana, would this be considered more like a coral forest, or would coral reef not be the right term for this area?
Yes, so sorry, I was, yes. So, yes, so the shallow water corals, the reef building corals are a different kind of corals. They are the scleractinians. And what happens is that when the corals die off, their skeletal remains keep building over on the same place. So it kind of it ends up creating a calcium carbonate mound on which the scleractinian corals remain. So that is basically the reefs. I am not very fond of the term soft corals because these are not true soft corals. There is a group of octocorals that do not have any internal skeletons, and they can be called the true soft corals, but they have internal and very strong skeletons. As we can see, so the difference being that the octocorals do not deposit their skeletal material and form the mound-like structure, which basically is the reef. So they are not reef-building corals because these are internal skeletons, and the scleractinians, those have external reef skeletons, the reef-building ones. And we have a lot of shallow water octocorals as well. They can be found on the reefs or associated with the reefs, but they don't contribute towards building the reef. And also, it's not just the corals that contribute to the reef structure, it's the zooxanthellae and other associates that have calcium carbonate in them. Everything that dies, it deposits the calcium carbonate and forms the structure. So yes, the more familiar or common term for the deep sea is coral gardens. Sometimes we do see, like, you may see cold water reefs. They're not true reefs, but they can be found when we have scleractinian coral dead material skeletons, a bunch of Lophelia skeletons forming mounds, but those are more like depositions in a place, so they're not true reefs. But the more commonly used term is coral garden. As I was mentioning previously, that I'm not exactly sure what qualifies or what diversity of corals or what density of corals qualify as a place being called a coral garden.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, I would definitely call these coral gardens
Mm-hmm.
because of the density that we are seeing, but there is probably a more formal standard. So yes, that's not something that I'm very familiar with, but I've seen coral gardens with similar densities and some
Awesome.
similar diversity.
Thank you so much for always sharing that amazing wealth of knowledge.
And thorough knowledge. Yes.
It's also a lot that, you know, I am glad that we come up with these questions because we all get holed up into working in our very niche
Right.
projects. It also makes me think about a lot of things that I've not worked on for a while, so I keep going back to them. So sometimes I don't remember everything. I have bad memory, so then most times I'll go back and read a bit more about it.
I don't think you can ever say you have bad memory.
Oh, I have horrible recall memory.
Yeah, but in short, then these would not be reefs. This is too deep.
Yes.
These are not coral reefs.
Yes, yes.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Coral
And-
gardens.
And
They're
there,
coral
there can be rock reefs, you know, there can
Yes.
be, yeah, of course.
Go for 10 meters west, please.
And we had another comment asking about shipwrecks counting as reefs, and I mentioned that briefly, but Hans, do you think you could elaborate on that? Is that an accurate term, you think, that shipwrecks could become reefs
Well,
if they're sunken?
you know, it can be applied. I mean, there are places where ships that have been properly cleaned have been intentionally scuttled or set down on the seafloor to act as artificial reefs and fish habitat, which they are. I've always said fish love their history. And
Aw.
actually on shipwreck sites, what you notice is an increase in the biodiversity. But there are good things and bad things about everything that we see and try sometimes. One issue is, does the shipwreck act as a sponge? Kind of bringing in fish from adjacent areas into one area, which actually makes it easier to catch them and remove them from the ecosystem. So there's interest in placing artificial reefs in areas that aren't adjacent to natural reefs that already have abundance and diversity, maybe in areas where it's sandy and flat. And if you have a shipwreck in those areas or an artificial reef of one type or another, there are other structures you can use. Concrete structures are used quite often of different design for artificial reefs. Then
Okay, go ahead.
maybe that will increase the overall abundance rather than drawing fish away from other areas. It's an interesting topic.
Yeah. Basically, fish love any kind of structure in the water to congregate around.
And to keep safe from bigger predators.
Yeah.
Good for another 10, 280. 280 is fine.
Oh, those are some nice looking rocks right there.
And we did have a question about the rocks, but unfortunately I'm not very familiar with geology. Hans, or do you think you could at least speak to whether these rocks are volcanic or their source?
Well, first of all, they're very enticing for a sample, so
Yeah.
when we're in shape, this could be a likely area. Yeah, I'm not a geologist, so I'll just put that caveat out there right away. I had some geology courses, but a very long time ago, so I do understand that these are igneous rocks. This is a seamount, an undersea volcano, produced by hotspots, plumes beneath the oceanic plate. So hotspots in the mantle burn a hole in that plate, extrude these subsea volcanoes, and we're sampling them for our geologists to understand the structure and the age of these undersea plumes. We're looking for, you know, sort of a cantaloupe-sized angular rock of one that will be of interest to Val and to Hannah. And they use the study of isotopes and the study of the minerals inside the basalts, the igneous rock, to understand more about the history of the seafloor itself.
Starboard boxes.
Do we want to take a look at that one on the other side? Has it got a nice face on it? Yeah? Yeah, oh yeah, there's a nice flat face to it. I think that's great.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to rotate it around all the way because
Roger.
it's heavy and it might slip out of adjust.
What? I'd say it's...
Okay, open the starboard box. You happy with that one, Hans?
Yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah,
happy.
starboard E and F are both open.
The non-geologist is happy with that one. But what's happened on this seamount, as I understand it, is, you know, after having been formed in this volcanic process, part of the extrusive lava, you know, that came out onto the seafloor and cooled quickly has broken away and collapsed, revealing portions of the seamount that where we can see the interior intrusive rocks, the channels where the magma flowed, the lava flowed, which cool more slowly inside the seamount, called dikes. And you know that it's really quite fascinating to see these different types of rocks.
Get a rock, don't play around.
Yeah.
Wow, thanks so much for that.
Ballast too. We usually get 2 big ones for the big boxes.
Thanks so much for that explanation, Hans. I'm sure the geology student that was tuning in and asking that question appreciates that answer.
And that was sample number 049.
Thank you, Taylor Ann.
Yeah, I should not launch into lengthy explanations of things I know little about.
Well, sounded very confident to me. And for our geology student tuning in, if you want to stay tuned in for the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to actually do a watch change, and then we're going to have some different staff entering, including some geologists on that team. So feel free to stay tuned and continue asking more geology-focused questions then.
You push in on the geology / cup coral for me.
It's a fairly large cup coral. Have you seen any while I stepped away?
Yes, there were some cup corals that we saw. Sorry, I was looking at the chart.
So do we confirm the number of that sample for the rock?
Yes, that was 049.
Roger, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cute. Okay, go away. You can go away, Jan.
And for the question about our watch shifts,
Chiller's working.
Our watch shifts are 4 hours long, so this is currently the 12 to 4 watch, meaning we are in the control van monitoring dives between midnight and 4 a.m. and noon and 4 p.m.
Like it was off there for a minute, and they probably reset it, so good catch, Janet.
And for our other watches, they're active between 4 a.m. and 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. For the other one, 8 a.m. to noon, and then 8 p.m. to midnight.
That's right. We don't do the dog watch.
Which one is the dog watch? I've never heard that term.
The early morning one?
Oh, funny you should ask. Traditionally, and we're not doing a dog watch, you know, on the Nautilus, but traditionally watches were 4 on, 4 off, except for the 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Those were two 2-hour watches.
Okay.
Those were called the dog watches. First dog watch, second dog watch. That's because people usually ate around, you know, in the middle of those two.
Right.
So both the starboard and port watches could eat, because sailing ships had two teams, the starboard watch and the port watch.
Right.
And they would do 4-hour watches.
Oh, that's interesting. So then they could switch and eat.
Right.
Yeah, that's an interesting anemone also on the seafloor. Metallogorgias.
You knew I'd slipped some maritime history in there somewhere, right?
Yeah, you've explained it to me 3 or 4 times, so I figured it would come up at some point during our watch.
Are there names for the other watches as well?
Well, traditionally?
Yeah, traditionally, because I know we've been calling ours the Dead Man's Watch.
Yeah,
Is it something that we have been calling, or is that something that is that?
No, that's not traditional.
Yeah.
I think, you know, in the old sailing times, we're actually the afternoon watch right now.
Yeah.
That doesn't emphasize the lack of sleep we get enough.
No, it doesn't. But then the four.
Okay, go for another 20.
Yeah.
20. Go for 20. It's large.
Yeah.
And for our viewer earlier, further asking clarification for definition of a reef, mangroves generally are not considered reefs because they're not underwater. So we're talking about underwater sturdy structures that are resistant against wave energy.
Just going to run over here and look at this rock. See if I can get there.
Oh, that one that's got elevation on it, yeah.
We're climbing up. We're so close.
Yeah, we're close.
We're getting close. We have 22 minutes.
So following us would be the first dog watch, right? 4 to 6.
Yes.
Second dog watch.
But aren't we the dog watch since we relieve them for dinner?
Yeah, we are also the dog watch.
Well, we're not really doing that on Nautilus, but then the first watch would be 8 to 12. And then our watch at midnight is actually called the middle watch. 0 to 4.
Much nicer name.
Yeah.
Than the dead man was.
Yeah.
But I think that's nicer.
Must be above me. Not seeing it.
4 to 8, the morning watch.
Have you done all these different watches before, Hans, on different expeditions? Do you have a favorite?
Well, NOAA ships don't operate like Nautilus. They don't do the kind of 24-hour operations with ROVs. Also, diving operations are limited to daylight hours, so it's not the same there.
Yeah, unless you're a mapper. We mapped
Oh,
overnight.
the mappers have watches, yeah.
Most boats work 12 to 12. Nautilus is
Yeah.
special.
Here we're seeing some Paragorgia large fans, some Hemicorallium. There were several pseudoanthomastes on the little boulder rock. There's a fish swimming. Several brachyngeids.
Oh, that fish looks so
I know.
Chanaclopsy.
pink.
So pink.
Everything's pink.
Yeah, that's
It's
cusk eel, but I've never really seen such a pink one.
Wow.
It's really cute.
It looks sad. Let's see.
Oh.
Oh,
This is a beautiful fish.
yeah.
I think it's the prettiest I've seen on this watch. Just hanging out.
It's not a snailfish. You said it's a cusk eel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I don't know what kind. Maybe this. The head is too rounded for our acanthonus.
Oh, now things are changing.
Yeah, we're
There's
getting.
my rock.
Yep.
It's here somewhere.
If you can see on the high pack machine, this is that change, the
Yep.
big change. If it's accurate, again, I think this is 75-meter resolution.
Right.
Can be the Stenus, but I'm not sure.
I don't call them navigassers for.
Navigesses.
Sometimes you got to use the force.
I mean, I just, go forward.
We've been out a few times with the AUV where the AUV maps all night, and then they have some beautiful, highly accurate bathymetry, and then we operate the ROV the next day off the AUV.
Is it like 5 meters?
Yeah.
Even when we pushed, from 100 to 75, it's a bit helpful.
Oh yeah, and this depth, 75-meter pixels.
Yeah.
That is another beautiful brachyngid.
It still amazes me that you guys put us right in the middle of 3 wrecks based on 8 dots on a screen at 5,000 meters. I don't know how you figure that out.
You just called us the Navigessers. I think we're the Nava. I can't think of a comeback.
Nava nailed it in that case.
Nava nailed it. I know they used the backscatter to look. I mean, it was so hard to see in the backscatter. It's just a blimp.
Yeah, it just looked like dots on a screen to me. I couldn't work it out.
I still can't believe the front row teams pulled all that off, Dan. Neither can Mike.
And you had great commentary, Hans. You and Mike, yeah. I'm so glad we got to go down to those so you could see them on this cruise.
Say, I think your expedition leaders for that, I would have never thought to do Atalanta only dive.
Are these cup corals?
Yes. Yes, they are cup corals.
And Mia, can you share a little bit more about what you mentioned earlier, backscatter, if you're not too busy?
Push in there a bit.
Yeah, so this is one of my weaker areas of seafloor mapping, so I would definitely say check out the website for a very accurate description of what it is. But as we have, so we're collecting a lot of different, a few different sources when we're doing the deep sea mapping. So we have the multi-beam SWAS, and then we have sonar, and then we have the backscatter, or sub-bottom sonar and the backscatter. And it's just this like black and white image that shows, instead of the multi-beam, it's just more of the, I don't know. I don't want to explain it incorrectly, so I'll just say I'll come back and get a really good explanation for the next watch.
Okay, you can go
Oh,
wide.
thanks. Sorry to put you on the spot.
No worries. I'm also very tired.
Right, we're almost there.
I don't want to give false information about mapping. I don't want us to be the NAVA guessers. We're going to be the NAVA nails it.
Nice.
In layman's terms, it's how the strength of the signal after the sound pulse hits the seabed.
The return, yeah.
Yes,
See,
it
Dan's
is.
got it.
So is backscatter more like noise and?
I think it's like the intensity of the sound, and again, I do not have any degree in mapping whatsoever, but I think it's something about the intensity of the sound, and like that tells you if the bottom is hard or soft or smooth or bumpy. But
it's yeah, the nature of the return signal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not necessarily the intensity. That's where it gets quickly
the
over my
nature.
head too. But
Gotcha.
okay, 20280, please.
Yeah, but going, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I know, I was just going to say, yeah, going back to returns, like a harder surface, like rock surface is going to return differently than, you know, a clay or sediment surface. So those will have different returns.
Right, or like something like this, like a rocky,
yeah, exactly,
coral garden area.
A lot of it is still very theoretical.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of mud dives where we were promised, you know, rocky terrain based on the backscatter. And we spend hours and hours looking at mud. So,
yeah.
And then conversely, so it also depends on how much sediment is over a hard surface, for example.
And we had a question about the depth.
To know.
So we are currently a little over 1,600 meters deep, or I believe in imperial units, that's 5,317 feet approximately. So if you'd like to see more stats, head over to nautiluslive.org. If you're watching on YouTube, we have a sidebar that shows things like the depth, temperature, ship heading, wind speed, and other information.
Right, we're making good progress. We're near waypoint 3. We've come up a considerable ways, and I'd guess maybe about 800 meters more to ascend before we get to the top, where we expect to see potentially some trawl impact.
Yeah, if we cross over this contour line, I call it a win.
Are we close to it?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
We're like
We've never been closer.
Yeah. We've never been closer, that's right.
I'd say we passed it.
There's a non-zero chance we'll see a shipwreck on the top.
There is a non-zero chance. Like Daniel Wagner says, hope dies last.
Okay, we can keep it moving.
Alrighty.
Plug in another 280.
Bridge nav. Can we step to 0 at 280? Thank you. We're less than 50 meters away, and we just called in a 20-meter move, so I think we might get there, maybe.
Or maybe
Hope
we'll,
dies last, Jake.
yeah, maybe we'll just hang on till we get there. Just to prove to ourselves that we can cross over waypoints.
I think on all of our dives so far, we've been really close, but we haven't gotten to the waypoint.
We could lock the door, keep the next watch out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, maybe by the time we come back for dinner. You know?
Oh yeah, we will be relieving them.
I think this will be the closest gap, though. If we don't make it, this will be the shortest gap compared to our other watches.
We're just very thorough. Could spend forever in these coral gardens.
Yeah, I mean, taking the time to see that
Zoom in there for us.
both
Waiting
those
for the ship now.
octopuses was well worth it, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
That was amazing.
Exactly.
It's worth the 40 meters.
Absolutely. It is also crucial to understanding the processes in the deep sea to encounter such events and observe them, because they're so rare that we hardly encounter such incidents, and when we do, it is important from the scientific aspect as well to have good observations, and crucial to understanding the processes in the deep sea. And to understand the cycling of nutrients and resources.
For sure.
Spaz, camera spaz.
While acknowledging and respecting
falls
what
in
we
there,
are
is it?
seeing. Yeah, it is.
Cup corals?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And ophiruoid?
what are those? It looks like sand dollars, but with little arms.
Yeah, probably some sorts of ophiruoids. I'll have to look them up.
Okay, can go in.
Are we squatting
Thank
and not?
So it looks like we
Video
are
swap.
about, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just a video swap.
Yeah, we are about
Bye,
to
Gina.
change watches. So new team members are coming in, new video engineers, ROV pilots, scientists. So thank you so much for tuning in so far. We're so glad to be able to explore this unnamed seamount with you and see all these beautiful pink corals, that amazing octopus. And definitely stay tuned because there's still several hours of exploration on this seamount, and we're definitely interested in seeing any more critters or potentially any human impacts from past activities on the seamount.
Hi, Mike.
So, thank you again for tuning in, and you'll probably hear from some of us again on dinner as we step in for our colleagues for dinner, and then again on the future watches.
Yeah, thank you, Afternoon Watch. Thank you, Front Row.
Our pleasure. Front row signing off.
Audio test 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, Derek. So, good. So, yeah, they only made it to the new waypoint 3 over the last 8 hours. So you know they've shifted all the waypoints and we're moving, I guess, to the same waypoint 4, and then. But I think we need to try to move at a pretty decent pace if possible.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Just take Sebastian's headset and we'll be cooking.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. It seems like it's
Yeah.
flattened out.
Yeah, that's good. I like 4 if it's doable.
Yeah, we can do it. You can't stop and smell the roses as much, but
Yeah.
unless you stop the ship. But
I mean, how many samples do we have?
Sebastian, can you take a picture
total?
of this? Take a picture of that, please.
Anyway.
Yeah, right there. Take a picture. Oh yeah, can you say layers under sheet dike?
So if we
not sheet dike, sheet flow.
if we want to take a sample, then
Yeah. Okay, we're good.
we'll have to do all stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
Okay.
So science team, if we want to stop and take a sample, it's going to be a little bit, we're going to have to like stop the ship rather than just do it. So just keep that in mind. We're going to try to make progress.
Yeah, I don't plan on collecting a rock sample till after waypoint 3.
Can we please track a line at bearing 214
good
at
for
speed
me
0.4
And I don't
knots?
intend to collect anything unless I see something particularly novel, but we've seen it pretty homogenized, a lot of the same
Correct. Yep,
so
thank
far.
you.
I'm good with playing
Yeah,
catch
sounds
up.
good. Okay, cool.
Why isn't this working?
Hmm?
I was like, I don't know why this isn't signing me in right now.
Because it's,
Oh, I'm stupid. I'm stupid.
I was going to say, is it at the right email?
Nope. Okay.
So aloha everyone. For those who are already been kind of watching this expedition for the last couple of hours, or those who have just joined in, we are now on our new shift. We got the 4 to 8 crew. And thanks for joining us on expedition NA 154, entitled Ala Aumoana Kai Uli, the Path of the Deep Sea Traveler in Papa Hanaumokuakea Marine National Monument.
Little squat lobsters in the rocks.
I think that's a crinoid.
Oh,
there's two squats.
Two squats hiding behind the rocks. There's one right.
We've got a
here.
good detection
Oh,
method.
well, if they're hiding.
I wish we saw these rocks earlier when I was on.
Yeah.
Go for zoom here.
Yep.
It's like crinoid dancing.
Yep. Jazz hands.
Oh, I love that rock too.
It's just trying to get your attention.
Yeah, no, it stopped.
Yeah.
Oh,
hey,
there we go.
Look at this rock. Hey, over here. Hannah.
Pick this rock. Pick this rock.
Yeah. It looks like one of those inflatable things in front of a car dealership.
Yeah.
The wacky inflatable tube men.
Thank you. Okay, coming out.
All right. Thank you, dancing crinoid.
And ginormous coral with 50 associates.
So there was a note at the end of our last dive, our watch, that when we take a Niskin for eDNA, we need to be 2 to 3 meters above where the corals are, not any higher. So just we should keep that in mind for the next time. I don't know what altitude we were, but I don't think we were that close.
Yeah, we were maybe around 5, I think.
Yeah, so just something to keep in mind when we do it for eDNA.
I think I want to try to collect a rock sample, like right here.
Okay.
Or just right behind that.
Right after waypoint 3? 4?
Waypoint 4, yeah. Because other than that, I'm cool with us just skipping all that.
When you say right here, you're talking about a map, not about where we are right now?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
So, worm in the water column off to port.
I love that.
Hot pursuit.
Worm chase.
Can I come in?
I'm coming.
Yeah, a little too much. I like the downs.
That's cool.
This one's less translucent than the other. Some of these ones have a little bit of like a reflective on their paddles that makes them give a little bit like a gold shimmer to them.
They're so pretty.
There's a crinoid down on the right doing that behavior again.
Hi y'all, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
This is awesome. I'm loving this. Is this a worm?
Yep, this is a polychaete worm.
A polychaete. Oh, we saw one earlier.
I got it in a still camera too.
Nice.
Maybe.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Those are big mushroom corals too.
He came back.
Yeah. Encore.
Wow. So cool.
I like all these neat little overhangs for organisms to hide.
And look, the starfish
Oh yeah.
eating something, a coral. Look at this. Is this a flat ground? Or is this up a slope?
This seems relatively flat.
Wow.
Yeah, that's weird. Oh, I guess we're up on the hump now.
Yeah. We're gonna make it.
We made it 8 hours later.
Oh wait, that's really.
It's just because there's been so much to look at.
I know. I saw the octopus eating. No.
What?
The lunge. No, wait. What is it? The squat crabs or whatever eating the octopus.
I wasn't there for that event, so.
Yeah,
What?
you were.
There's a
There
big
was
crab.
like I don't know if they're.
I think it was a deceased Dumbo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aww. The Dumbo octopuses are so cute.
Yeah, it was
And
really
then we
sad.
saw this living swimming one later.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
Oh really? That's cool. Is it the yellowish orange one?
No, these ones
was, like,
were like a pale white.
Oh.
The larger ones.
The ones off Southern California are so cute. They're either purple or like yellowish orange.
Wait, I missed it. What are we talking about?
Dumbo octopuses?
Yeah. I saw in the last watch, they saw one?
Yeah, they saw one. They technically saw two. One that
The
was
one that
being,
was alive.
One that was being eaten, and one that was still alive and swimming in the water column. Got some really nice charts on Atlanta and Hercules of it.
Nice. That was really fun to show during the ship to shore.
But you know, it's kind of cool. Even though the other one was deceased, it was still giving the gift of life, right?
Sure.
It was feeding all the other animals. So
Yeah.
there's that idea of reciprocity in the natural world, which is really a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
What's straight ahead of the lasers there, hanging down?
Hanging
This?
down.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, maybe it's hanging up and there's something above it.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Oh, this?
Oh, I thought they were talking about this.
No,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe there's just a rock straight behind it.
We still aren't quite
Yeah.
with you on what you're
All
seeing.
right, disregard.
Okay.
Ship's starting to finally move, so I'm gonna
Skedaddle.
Yeah.
Were there any rocks collected in any of the past watches? Yes?
Yep.
Yeah.
They collected a ton of rocks for us.
All around the same area. So.
Are we interested in more?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't ask that. The answer's always going to be yes.
Absolutely.
Ideally closer to waypoint 4, but yes.
Yes. No. Definitely by waypoint 4.
Okay.
100%.
So there was a question earlier in the chat regarding the rock samples. What happens with rock samples that are not analyzed?
Well, we still bring them. We still send them to the repository. Is that what the repository anyway? Because maybe one day down the line they will be useful. Because a lot of the time technology always advances, so they could be useful in the future.
Well, and not only that, but different scientists ask different questions and need different data. So,
Oh, here, we're not updating?
You know what, if Val and Hannah don't need a particular rock that we ended up sampling because we can't see inside it till we grab it,
Like anything's
someone down the line might be asking a
refreshing.
totally different question that it'll be useful for. That's why we submit the samples to these labs and museums so we can, you know, they're just available for anyone who's asking questions and needs data.
That was weird.
That way they don't have to come out here themselves. And what's really important about it is the context and the metadata that goes with it. That's probably even more important than the sample, so that people can see where it came from, what depth, location, what was around it, the video, the photos of it. All that context is probably even more important than what the sample is, because that's what tells them if it's going to be useful or not. So all of that is submitted to the labs and the repositories along with the sample.
Yeah, because along with every rock, no matter if like we're going to use it or not, we're still going to give a petrological description of what's inside of it, no matter what, and taking into account the alterations that happened in these rocks. Because again, a lot for what we do, alteration is something we try to avoid, and this is a really hard word for me to pronounce.
Pretty anemone.
And then it's a hard word. It was like holoclastics. It's basically these rocks that are filled with more carbonates.
Huh.
So kind of more felsic too. So kind of something that we're not, like me and Val aren't targeting, but somebody else may be wanting to look at them.
I kind of fell sick this morning.
What?
I kind of fell sick this morning.
I was actually just about to ask Hannah. I know
Go
you've
south.
talked before about felsic versus mafic,
Yeah.
and I've already forgotten again from my
Yeah.
geology
Yeah,
class.
so the
gotta get, like,
felsic rocks,
more up
they're
on this
high
ridge.
silica content.
Yes, that's right.
And then mafic rocks, they're high, like,
Iron.
Yeah, iron, and then I want to say, what else?
And we
What
find
else?
felsic rocks mostly in like oceanic crusts, or it's the other way?
No, continental.
Yeah, continental.
Continental.
But salts are usually well, oceanic crust is usually mafic. Almost always. No, usually.
Yeah, almost always, I'd say.
Coming up a bit, so you go. Yep.
We're flying.
Yeah, let's move.
Yeah.
Get to that waypoint 4 in no time. Get up to the depth where we can see sharks again. Oh, look at these lines. That's cool.
I know, I love it.
What's that from?
Trawling, maybe?
Yeah, this might be
No.
trawling, actually.
No, I don't think so. It's
Well,
too...
There's some sort of very straight patterns here.
I'm not sure what trawling would
I've
even-
seen other photos, though. It could be just be natural slides, but it is possible to be trawling as well.
I'm not sure they would come down this slope.
So one thing to think about is they probably didn't have very good maps of this feature, so
True, that's true.
you might be able to see a flat top on the top of the seamount, but I don't think they would really resolve this ridge
Oh,
with
Yeah.
the bathymeter.
Suppose it could be.
Just doing it again.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
I think I might have to reset it.
Okay.
Some of them just look random.
What kind of pictures are y'all looking at? Just like
pictures of trawling scars on the seabed.
Yeah, I was just curious, like, because I have no idea what it looks like.
Right.
So I was like, oh, what does it look like? And then I Googled it, so.
Yes, I'm Googling, like, how deep trawling can happen at, because, I mean...
Yeah, so
I think about 1,000 meters.
1,000?
Yeah, it's typically down to 1,000 commonly, but anywhere between 200 and 2,000 meters
yeah, that's
they
all right.
can get
It's
to.
not doing anything for me now anyway.
So we're looking at lobate flows right now, and these are the second fastest flow. The fastest flow is the sheet dikes, not sheet dikes, sheet
Lavas.
flows. Yeah, sheet flows. And then the slowest is pillow lavas, which pillow lavas are the samples that we collect because they're not connected to anything or cemented to anything. Unlike, what?
Are you way out ahead?
The nav keeps freezing, so I don't know where we are really.
I think it's working here. This is still updating.
Oh, it's still up there? Okay.
Okay.
I figured I'm somewhere in the general area, but you can maybe... How's the camera looking?
Now it looks like sheet flow.
I was looking at the tether to try and figure out where I was in relation to the...
All right, I'm going to come up, give it some altitude, and then I'll bring the camera down.
It's hard to tell with the tether because the current is pulling it too. So. Our move is 210 though, right?
185.
185. All right, so I'm a little over this way.
No, it's still 214. I was going to change it to 185.
I gotta come back under.
I can bring it over towards you though.
That's all right. I'll drive over. Sorry, back row. We had a little navigation issue with the.
Yeah, no worries.
Recalculating.
I think the RAM gets ramped up on this and it bogs it down.
So we have a viewer that's asking about being able to set up a Zoom meeting with their 3rd grade classroom. And it sounds like something they've done before, and they wanted to know if they could set it up again. And the answer is yes. We have ship-to-shore interactions that are available during the entire expedition season. And Jake and I actually did one earlier today, and it was really fun. But yeah, ship-to-shores are available. If you head to the Nautilus Live website, which you're already on if you're sending messages, and you go to the education section, you'll see 3 different opportunities there for you to check out. One being free educational resources for you to use in your classroom.
Ravioli.
Information about ship-to-shore interactions where you can request specific hosts on our expedition or the upcoming one.
We got that one.
And then also just information about at-sea programs.
Like, we got it.
Like internships and fellowships.
Like our watch.
I know, but there's a check mark.
Yeah.
So yes, definitely check out the ship-to-shores. We've had a lot today. I've had a lot with students at my own school, and that's been like really fun and just really good to see them get excited about the work that we're doing out here. But we love talking to students. And I know, Malia, don't you have one special planned for tomorrow?
I do. So part of the Ocean Exploration Trust's engagement with indigenous communities is making sure that we offer ship-to-shore in Olelo, Hawaii, in Hawaiian language. So tomorrow morning, I'll have my grandson, Kiai, who's in the Punana Leo, which is a preschool program in Waialua, and they'll be calling in and engaging with us on board. So it'll be fun. We'll have a bunch of 3- and 4-year-olds. We'll be interacting in Olelo, Hawaii, and kind of sharing with them the continuum of exploration from our ancestors who explored the Pacific, Moana Nui Akea, to current exploration. So a beautiful line from past, present to future.
Yeah, and these interactions are available not just for classrooms. Like we've had people of all ages, as young as preschool 3 and 4-year-olds to K-12 classrooms. We've even had a few opportunities to talk with like some elders during this expedition specifically and just share with anyone who is interested in connecting more one-on-one with our crew and asking questions.
So yeah, so be sure to check out nautiluslive.org. If you, your organization, your kula, your school is interested in engaging with the crew on board.
Whoa.
It's a forest.
Oh my gosh. Oh, is that a Venus flytrap?
Hmm?
Should we go over that way?
Closer to the, yeah. Back up on the ridge. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some pretty big bamboos.
Oh yeah.
You can very slightly see the stripes.
Yep. I don't know.
Bridge nav. I'd like to adjust this line heading line bearing to 235.
Go for zoom, Ed.
Yes.
Is this also a little? Oh, never mind. I don't
Yes,
know what
please.
that is.
Holding partial.
Oh, it's a squat.
Roger.
Oh, that's a great shot. It's even in the still camera.
Derek, did you see course over ground
Love
235?
Yes.
Thank you.
235. Roger.
These corals are so spectacular.